Okay, and welcome back to WhoDaBear videos. Today we're going to start off with a look at some of the patches that I've got on a new bit of kit. Unfortunately, for those of you who have been watching my GT8 videos, I no longer be doing any GT8 ones. I'm afraid. I'm really sorry about this. I've recently upgraded now to the GT100. So sorry to all those of you who've got the GT8, and we're starting to make some patches for you, but needs must and all that. But yeah, the GT100. So this is I'll just take you through a couple of the patches that I've just been fiddling around with. I've only got it within the last day or two or something like that. Again, I've been using the on screen, so basically on PC editor. Which has made it a hell of a lot easier to get to grips with and brings together some tidy patches within a short period of time. I generally use about maybe 4 or 5 maximum patches. One main rhythm one, which you just heard just then. A lead, which has got a fair bit more delay on it for stuff like Comfortably Numb. I use a few others other than, which is a really clean sort of Eric Johnson-esque sort of tone for cleans. Another more along the lines of sort of a Bassman or a tweed, Fender tweed, that sort of lines, with a bit of a tube screamer to kick in on top of that. And then what I'll do then is I'll finish off showing you 1 or 2 patches which I've basically made from scratch. Purely, what I mean by purely from scratch is by using the custom amps rather than using some of the standard amps that people use and that comes with the old GT8, which you can do with the GT100. You can create your own amps. So enough of the gassing and a bit more of the actual playing. So here's my my rhythm tone. So as you can hear, I first thought when I got the GT100, how I spent, and I could pick mine up for 350 quid off eBay, or just under 350 quid with delivery. But yeah, I picked mine up off eBay, and initially I thought, oh my god, I would spend £350 on something that's just not that much difference to the old GT8. At the moment, what I've got is going for my guitar. I'm going into the GT100 then. I am going into my rack mount amp. At the moment, I'm only using just the one mic, although I'm going into stereo. I'm also taking a line out in stereo then into the mixing desk. So basically what you've got here is a blend of, on the right hand side is one of the channels from the DI, basically straight from the GT100 into the mixing desk on the right hand side. On the left hand side then what you've got is a mic which is mic'd up one of the speakers. What I'll do over the coming weeks or so is I'll get myself another mic, and I'll mic the two of the cabs up so you can hear it properly. But essentially what I first thought was, have I paid all this money and there's not that much difference? Well, after a lot of tweaking, what I found just today now that yes, it is. Initially, you can get exactly the same tones as you did over the GT8. One thing I will say is when you actually pulling down all the different amps, it seemed that they had already had a lot more preset amps in the GT8 editor and the GT8 itself than you have got on the GT100. Whereas in the GT8 you had probably about off the top of my head, about 30 odd different amps. Specifically, you probably had about I don't know, 8 or 9 different Marshall amps. On this one here, I can only find just 2 main ones, but they are so much more. I'm not sure if you can get this from purely from the recording. It's a lot warmer, a lot more organic sounding, a lot more realistic sounding. You're probably not sure if you can get this from purely from the mic'd up sound, but live, yeah, it's a lot more realistic, a lot more warm. Okay, so I'll take a listen to my lead sound. Basically, it's very much a similar sort of thing, but a lot more delay to it. So as you hear there now, yeah, it's a lot warmer again. Okay, on to a clean tone that I use. As you can hear, so much warmer. You've got all the ability of using the additional functions of the utilities, as in like adding extra delay, extra gain, loads of extra different effects purely by just the one what they call the Excel or control function. You could do that with the old GT8, but I think they've realised this now and made it more of a feature than an additional that was hidden away on the GT8 and the GT10s. Mind you saying that, I've had some questions about the GT10s versus GT8. To be honest, I can't really comment. I've never really had the GT10. I've just gone from the GT8 to GT100. My personal opinion, I would just save it your money and go for the GT100. Anyway, so that's a clean. And then going on to a very brief shot at a more of a Fender Twin or Bassman, a bit more, but just a little bit more of dirt to it. Kicking a bit of overdrive. Sorry about the volume difference then, but yeah. So what I've noticed with the more of the Fendery amps, if you can call them Fendery, the Fendery amps, yeah, they are a lot closer. What I noticed with the old GT8 was that fizz, a little bit of fizz, that you either get used to and like at the end, or just put up with, or you either liked or hate it. I ended up. It took me a long time to work around that and take away a bit of the fizz. What I'm finding now with the GT100, you haven't got that. yeah, it's so much warmer. It's so much more clear. It's got that a little bit of the glassiness coming on now. Yeah, which it's well worth the extra money to go for the GT100. I'll give you a little bit of a taste of a tone that I was messing around with today, which is using the build your own amp and cabs. I'm not sure if you could do that with the old GT. I think you could. I never really got around to it, but I've definitely got around to it with messing around with this now today. And this is a sound that I come up with purely today, using one of the high gain amps that was on there. I think it's one of Roland's own ones in one side of it, and using an old custom built one, which I messed around with using the editor today. So this is the patch for this. What I've got is I've got kicked in then because I can sort out all my EQing problems or EQing purely by using the amps. What I'm using now is the EQ as a bit of a boost, keeping it as a flat EQ plus maybe 2 or 3 dB, something like that, and then adding in a bit of an overdrive, so it's just a smidgen, a little bit more harmonics on the gain, rather than not distortion, but just a little bit more tone on the gain side. So this is the rhythm part of it. And you're kicking in a bit of gain. So yeah, and then finally, just a bit of a mess around one. Same amp, but just add a bit of fun to it. So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm well impressed with this now. I did go in between of having the GT8 and bought myself a Line 6 X3 Live. I found that the amps on that were a little bit better than the GT8, but the effects on it were awful. The choruses, the delays, the supposed octaves and pitches, it was just absolute rubbish. So yeah, what I did was I sold the 2 of them and I got the GT100, and I am well impressed by this so far. I've only had a couple of days just to play around with it. Loving it so far. So apologies for those of you who follow my GT8 videos. Sorry, there's nothing about this now. But there will be a lot more GT100 videos to come. What I'm going to try and do is I'll try and create some of the more well-known people's patches, my own versions of them. You can get, there's a bloke called Josh Munday who's one of the demonstrators from Australia for for the GT100. You can download his patches; they are amazing. I'm sure you've probably seen the demo of it. Glenn DeLune, I think, is another person that goes and makes a lot of the patches for these. Again, some fantastic tones for this. So what I'll do is in the next coming couple of weeks or so is bring you hopefully some cleans, some more delays, so sort of more dirty patches. Hopefully, a couple that are more well-known sort of artist sort of patches. And hopefully, as I'm going along and learning a bit more of this GT100, I'll try and share some of the hits and tips that I've picked up along the way. One to leave you with: if you're using a stereo rig, and if you're using it in a dual left and right, then use the separation. Only just a little bit. Use maybe sort of four or five. Sorry about this, but if you know what I'm on about with this. If you're using just a little bit of separation on the between the amps, it makes a huge difference. Anyway, I'll leave you with that little gem, and hopefully explain a lot more in the upcoming weeks. So have your fun, and see you all soon. This is WhoDaBear Videos, and see you again.